Hello YouTubers, my name is Jazzy Fresh and I'm uploading my first video that will be a series of videos discussing the Final Fantasy universe. In this universe there are many games, 1 through 15, now 15 is out, woohoo! And connecting all the games is like a theory that has been around for many years based on common elements found throughout the games, and also the creators of Final Fantasy kind of confirming that Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy VII are connected, saying that, essentially they're in the same universe, maybe not the same planet, but at least they're connected in that way. So in my videos, I will go through each of the games and discuss the background that was established by the creators, also adding my little input into it, and then I will do a short review on what happened in each game, and then occurs finally how one game flows into the next. So the information that I gathered were from main games, sequels, novels, some of these being Japanese exclusive, but I was able to find information about them online. And of course it's going to be a blend of known facts and my ideas about how these games are interconnected. So as you see here is my concept map, and for each of the columns they are representative of a different world in the universe. So the first column where Final Fantasy I is located, it will be called World A, and of course in the circles, the games that titles in the circled, they are part of World B, and these concepts were introduced in Final Fantasy I and Dissidia. While the second column we have 10, 7, 8, and 15, and those are actually 7, 8, and 15 are on the same planet, while 10 is disconnected to the 7. The third column we have Final Fantasy 5 and 3, which again they are on the same planet, which I'll again connect later on. And then the last column we have Final Fantasy 2, 4, 9, and 13. And those are again in the same universe, and they are connected through the game Final Fantasy IV, which Final Fantasy IV seems to be a very important game because it will connect Final Fantasy II and Final Fantasy III to it, while 4, 9, and 13 are all in the same world. So the worlds that are circled are part of World B, and I'm still working on drawing up the connection between 11, 14, 6, 12, and Type O, which will be part 3 of my video anyway. So without further ado, I would love to hear your comments afterwards, and just sit back, relax, and enjoy the tale that is Final Fantasy. Of course, spoilers are ahead, but for part 1 of my video, I will discuss Final Fantasy 1 along with Dissidia, Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy 7, and Final Fantasy 2. And of course, go into the concept of the origin of the Final Fantasy universe and the Crystal World, as well as the Void and the Rift. Birth of the Fantasy. In the beginning, there was a realm called the Crystal World, which resides in space, or the center of the universe. The Crystal World was a life force of harmony and discord. To keep the forces separate yet balanced, the Void was created and became the source of chaos, while the Crystal World became the source of cosmos. From the Void, planets and time were born, and from the Crystal World, the stars and life were born. 4 spirits are born of fire, water, wind, and earth from the original crystal, and 4 demons are born of chaos, will be named the 4 fiends. Chaos manifested into a dragon demon named Shinryu. Cosmos / the Crystals sends Shinryu to the interdimensional rift, or World B, where he is given the task of collecting and preserving memories of all the worlds connected by the rift and born of the void. The fiends are tasked with protecting Shinryu / Chaos. World A is born first. Fiends and humans are created through crystal ores of the crystal world infused with memories of the void by Shinryu to begin their evolution. When life dies, their spirit returns to the crystal. When the crystal dies, their energy returns to cosmos, while the memories float to chaos. Over time, knowledge and memories build up, and humans advance to form its own complex society. In the game of Dissidia, the nation of Onrak from World A discovered a door to the rift and retrieved a sample of crystal ore for study. The ores are the basis of life forms and are manipulated to make the first mannequins, which take on the form of the researchers observing them. They were but mindless puppets, so Sid of Lufane was recruited to transplant memories into them. He was a scientist who studied harmony and discord and the creator of the mannequins. His perfect mannequin creation was Chaos. Raised as a weapon of war, he grew too powerful. Thus Cosmos, that looks like Sid's wife, was made, and she has a power equal to Chaos. However, witnessing the death of his mother, Sid's wife, caused Chaos to open the rift and travel to World B with Sid and Cosmos in tow. With no way of getting back, a being named Shiryu offers them a way back to World A. Shiryu brings replicas of the warriors and villains from various Final Fantasy games from the future and steals their memories. Thus the cycle of war between Cosmos and Chaos begins. At the end of the 13th cycle, Cosmos stays in World B with Chaos, and they both fade away while Sid, Warrior of Light that carries the soul of light, and Garland that carries the soul of dark, return to World A. Shiryu travels through the rift with the Dark Crystal to World A and takes Chaos with it. Cosmos creates Omega, a being who can combat Shiryu, and is drawn to his presence. Final Fantasy I, World A. The ancient civilization of the Lithin are technology advanced. Sid creates airship, robots called Wartech, and flying fortress using the power of the wind crystal or orb. However, the crystal went dark when the fiend Tinmat waged war. 5 Sky Warriors were sent to restore the crystal, but they failed and were turned to bats. Many centuries later, another fiend Kraken darkened the water crystal by sinking a civilization to the ocean, while the earth and fire crystals are darkened by Lich and Merilith respectively. 4 Warriors of Light of Lucan's prophecy arrive at the castle, and Cornelia, or the City of Dreams, with the 4 darkened crystals. The king tells the warriors that his daughter Sarah was kidnapped by a rogue knight Garland and taken to Chaos Shrine. Along the way, they defeat the 4 fiends and restore the crystals. They also defeat 4 other fiends, Scarmigliore, Cagnazio, Barachita, and Rubicate, who guard Chaos. However, an unknown power is still draining them, and answers lie at Chaos Shrine. They find the Dark Crystal, a crystal that's tainted by Shiryu and Chaos and is a manifestation of all negative memories, which transports them 2,000 years into the past. They find out that Garland created a time loop in which Chaos sent the fiends to the future to bring back Garland just before he was defeated by the Warriors of Light. In the past, Garland would summon the fiends to the future so they can darken the crystals to give the power to the Dark Crystal so Garland can become Chaos. In other words, the world repeats the same 2,000 years. The warriors are able to kill the fiends before Chaos can send them into the future and defeat Chaos finally. When they return to the present, the world has no recollection of the fiends or of the crystals darkening. The Warriors of Light remember and keep protecting the world. The fiends return to the void with Garland, waiting for someone to summon him, while Chaos persists in the rift with Shiryu and a dark crystal until they find their way to a new planet, Spira. Souls of the Guardians, Final Fantasy X. On the planet Spira, there are 2 settlements that have grown in opposing power, the magical city of Zanarkand and the machine city of Vivel. Vivel created powerful machines called Machina that became too big of a threat to the world. Zanarkand's leader Yu Yevon waged war on Vivel using the summoners of his city. Vivel created the most powerful weapon, Vegnagun. With overwhelming power, Zanarkand lost the war. Before their defeat, the people and summoners of Zanarkand wanted to preserve their home forever. So they became spirits called Faith and started a 1,000-year dream, Zanarkand. Yu Yevon's daughter, Yunalesca, sacrifices her husband Zayon. He becomes a special faith called the Final Aeon. An Aeon is a BC representation of the faith whose soul is trapped in stone. However, Yu Yevon sacrifices himself to become a being that can possess a faith and creates an armor around itself called Sin. His only mission is to destroy any civilization that became too advanced, any place where there's too much machina, and to keep the faith dreaming up Dream Zanarkand. 1,000 years later, Sin has Spira caught in a spiral of death in which a summoner gives up their life to call the Final Aeon, and the Final Aeon is a person with a close bond to the summoner who also sacrifices him or herself. Yu Yevon possesses the Final Aeon, and Sin is reborn. Seeing no end to the cycle, a nihilistic man, Seymour Guado, seeks to become Sin so he can send everyone to eternal salvation, death. To end this cycle, the summoner Yuna and the dream from Zanarkand, Tidus, defeat Seymour, Yunalesca, the Aeons, and Yu Yevon, and Sin ceases to be reborn. The Aeons rest, and the dream ends. 2 years later, the people seek to know more about the past and search for spheres, memories trapped in crystal spheres that were possibly created by the Void. Some of the spheres tell the story of an unsent from the real Zanarkand, Shuyin. He threatens to destroy the world by reawakening Vegnagun to have his vengeance for the death of his love Len during the Machina War. The battle takes place in the far plane. Yuna and friends are able to stop him, and he finally accepts death. Noticing an immense energy from the far plane, a boy named Shinra seeks to harvest this energy for Machina and uses his Vegna to do it. Over the centuries, the energy from the planet is drained and the people fight over the technology. The balance of life and death is rated in favor of death once again, and old enemies awaken from the far plane. This is known as beckonings, in which the dead roam among the living. Unalesca summons fiends to kill anyone connected to Vegnagun to end the power struggle and return the planet to the days of Xernekin. Seymour summons even more fiends from the rift or void and gains power from the dark crystal Shinryu gives him, and he becomes the new chaos. He seeks to complete his initial resolve to make an eternal kingdom of death. Unalesca is expelled from the planet and rests in the rift. The remaining people reconstruct Vegnagun into Omega to harbor all the energy from the planet and fly away to a new one, once the end came. Not knowing this, Seymour gathered up the Pyrophies from the Farplane to create his kingdom, much like June Xernekin. However, Omega carried all everyone to their planet and the memories that became part of a new life force, the Lifestream of Gaia. Unalesca, now a fiend possessed by the original Omega, uses the barren planet of Spira to sail the cosmos. Her only will is to kill every life form on the planet and use it as a new vessel to travel to another one until Chaos Shinryu is found. Life Force and Magic, Final Fantasy VII. Some of the people of Spira had arrived at Gaia before Omega's arrival, using great machina called weapons. They brought with them the divine faith of the old world and the faith of the old and new world become god and goddesses of Gaia. One of the new faith was Minerva, daughter of lightning god Ramu and sister of lightning son Ixen. She becomes the conscience of the Lifestream, and there she meets Seymour Chaos. Cunning, he was able to trick Minerva into making him an established power over the people of Gaia while he searches for a way to break his bond to Omega. In the meantime, he makes sure humans stay enslaved by the Ketra, who embrace magic over machine. Albed descendants who repent for Shinra's Shin. Minerva and Seymour have twins, a girl with control over light and time named Yami, and a boy with control over darkness and death named Yama. Their descendants are called Ancients, and they possess unique powers like their ancestors. They can control and summon fiends, see visions of the past and future, wield magic without materia, and commune with the dead. Yama makes himself king over the Ketra, while Yami seeks to set the humans free. Alliances form among the Aeons. On Yami's side is Titan, Ramu, Ixen, Kujata, Typhoon, Ifrit, Phoenix, Alexander, Muhammad, and as well as Minerva, while Leviathan, Odin, Hades, and the Knights of the Round, Shiva, and Seymour side with Yama. Some of the Old Faith, Valfor, Yojimbo, Anima, and the Maga sisters stay out of the conflict and remain in stone. Meteor and Holy are created by Seymour, and he turns Yama into Zirconade. Yami is able to defeat her brother, who retreats to the void, and Minerva steals Seymour Chaos away in the proto-materia. However, another being threatens the planet. Unalesca arrives, and she is now called Genova by the people of Gaia. The Ketra and Yami seal her away while the humans hide. To punish the humans, Yama taints the Lifestream more to make it poisonous to them. In retaliation, the humans seal him away in a special materia and scare the pieces, while also imprisoning the other summons in materia. The weapons are repurposed to protect the planet from threats. The humans continue Shinra's work and establish a power company in his name. 2,000 years later, Shinra has worldly power that creates super soldiers making Mako energy and Genova cells. One of these soldiers, Sephiroth, is driven mad after Genova possesses him and summons Meteor to destroy the planet. The last Ketra Ares summons Holy to counter his attack, while an ex-soldier Cloud and company defeats Sephiroth Genova. Sephiroth and Genova cells, however, live on in the Lifestream. 3 years later, deep-ground soldiers called Spits wreak havoc on the world. They kill those who are infected by geostigma, a disease caused by tainted Lifestream, a year before, and capture those who are not infected, to sacrifice them to the Lifestream to make it pure. Their leader, Weiss, is possessed by Shinra mad scientist Hojo, who wants to control Omega. He sends the other Spits to force Chaos to awaken from Vincent Valentine, who harbors the proto-materia. Vincent was able to control Chaos and uses his power to defeat Rise Hojo and stops Chaos Omega from absorbing all the life from the planet. Omega's protective bond to the planet is severed. Minerva extracts Seymour Chaos to allow Vincent full control. She leaves the planet's contents in the hands of Ares, the last Ketra agent. Minerva destroys the magic materia and remains on Gaia with the Knights of the Round for protection, while the other summons return to Lifestream or the Void. Yami Genova, Seymour, and Yama travel to a new world where no humans live. On their way, Yama flees. He comes across a planet where magic is wielded, but there are no aeons or summons. The Ultima, Final Fantasy II. In this world, there are no spheres or materia but magicite, or magical stones as they're called. Yama is mistaken for a fiend. However, there is one human who sees a human in his soul, and she falls in love with him. Fearing the cruel humans, Yama takes her with him to the underworld, in which he makes himself king, and he calls himself Satan. They have a son who would foster a line of emperors of the kingdom that would become Palamisia. Yama gives some of his power to this woman, who can use magic without the stones. Longing to be in the mortal world again, the woman plans to escape the underworld with her son. She creates the jade passage to the underworld and traps Yama Satan in the indestructible stone of Eludia. His lover Eludia returned to the mortal world. However, demons arose from hell, or pandemonium, through the passage. And still off the passage, she made some humans into mages, and they created Ultima magic. This magic became sealed away in the Ultima Tome and hidden in Mysteria Tower, only be opened when the crystal rod, a white mask, and a black mask are reunited. Leviathan's spirit is summoned, and she agrees to guard the tower, because Yama betrayed her. Eventually, Eludia finds a way to the heavens. There she watches over her son and his descendants. Sometimes later, some of his descendants, Matthias, wants more power and he makes a pact to summon demonic forces into the mortal world. Unbeknownst to him, Satan would corrupt his mind so he could be used to enact his revenge on the humans who trapped him in the Stone of Eludia and once again he'll rule over the world. After ascending to the throne, Matthias exiled his mother Iru to the deserts of Palamisia, and she spent her life trying to save her son. Matthias builds an army of beasts from hell. He begins attacking other kingdoms for complete power. 4 teens, Virion, Maria, Guy, and Leon, are attacked by Palamisian Black Knight soldiers and are left for dead. Virion, Maria, and Guy are rescued by Princess Hilda, who had established a rebel base. They venture on to find their friend Leon, but they set out on various missions of their own along the way. They obtain powerful metal called mithril to forge weapons. They destroy a large enemy airship called the Dreadnought and encounter a Dark Knight who they believe to be Leon. They seek the power of Ultima and the help of a race of people called Dragoons of Deist, and from the last Dragoon's wife, they learn that he is the only one left, and his name is Richard Highwind. His son Cain hopes to carry on his legacy, though. They rescue Hilda, who was captured by enemy forces, and obtain the black and white mask and the crystal rod, only to be attacked or in actuality swallowed by Leviathan. Here they find Richard. Venturing with him, they fight against Gigas Guardians that correspond to the 4 elements of Mysidia Tower. They encounter the destruction of the Kingdom of Flynn by Cyclone Matthias summons, and the heroes will summon the last dragon and use Richard as a defense mechanism against the Cyclone. Inside the Cyclone, though, is a castle where they will battle the Emperor Matthias, and he is seamlessly defeated by Ultima. But in reality, his soul is split into 2. One went to hell and the other to heaven. With the Emperor gone, one of his knight rises to power, and it's really Leon. He plans to destroy the rebel army for good. Returning to the castle, they confront Leon, only to find that the Emperor Matthias obtained a new demonic form from hell, and his intention is to destroy the entire world. Escaping the castle due to Richard's sacrifice, it is replaced by the Palace of Hell Pandemonium. Leon agrees to help the group seal the Emperor away. The party travels to the Jade Passage that leads to the underworld and finds the portal to Pandemonium, where they fight Tindaman, Astaroth, and Beelzebub, and they again defeat the Emperor, who fades away. The heaven half is defeated by dead Richard and allies. Matthias warns them that war will not cease to exist as long as humans exist. In the end, Iru finds a crystal which purifies the land and helps bring peace to the world. The crystal was forged by mages of Mysidia using the power of Ultima and Meteor. It essentially destroys the world, however the people preserved and are drawn into the void. They are transported to the future and find themselves on the moon overlooking a distant planet, the blue planet of Final Fantasy IV. Eludia frees Satan Yama in exchange for him restoring the souls the Emperor had taken and granting them all the ability to use magic without the stones. He agrees, but erases their minds. They have no recollection of their previous lives. They are called Lunarians. And this concludes part 1 of the Final Fantasy Universe theory. As a little recap, we have for you in this scene, we have the creation of Chaos and Shinryu in the bottom right corner. And they were created from the void and the rift. And while in there, we have this creation of a dark crystal in which it is given to Seymour Guado of Sphera. Seymour's actions leads to destruction of Sphera. However, the people of Sphera are able to save their planet by constructing Vegnagun into Omega, and it merges with the world of Gaia of Final Fantasy VII. On the other hand, you have Unalesca, who's pictured on the top right, who will become Genova and uses the barren planet of Sphera to make contact with Gaia and also cause havoc there. While on Gaia, Seymour and Minerva spawn descendants of super powerful humans that can use magic on their own and commune with the planet. And they're called Ketcher or Ancients, more specifically. And they also possess many other different powers of their own. Then, eventually leading into Final Fantasy II, Yama will flee from the rest of them that left the planet and create a spawn of emperors that will lead to Emperor Matthias, essentially trying to destroy the world of Final Fantasy II. However, it is saved, and this world will become the world in Final Fantasy IV, known as the Lunarians, and it's also called the Second Moon. But as an overall recap, we have all the different titles again with my concept map on the screen, in which Final Fantasy I Dissidia are responsible for the creation of Cosmos and Chaos. We're also born in the Crystal World, the Void, and the Rift. And connecting Final Fantasy I to Final Fantasy X again is Shinryu and this Dark Crystal that's given to Seymour. Final Fantasy X gives us the birth of the spirits, which are like the Aeons and the Summons, and how they are also preserved in crystals, and the idea of life or the Lifestream coursing through the planet. Connecting 10 to 7, of course, is Shinra technology and how Shinra from Final Fantasy X and also the Shinra Electric Power Company from Final Fantasy VII were able to harness energy from their planet's Lifestream, whether it be the Far Plane in Final Fantasy X or the Lifestream in Final Fantasy VII. And then finally, we have this introduction of this idea, which actually comes up in a lot of Final Fantasies, about sleeping and the passage of time, which is what occurred, or which I think occurred between the events of Final Fantasy II and Final Fantasy IV, establishing the Second Moon and the race of Lunarians, who again can use magic freely. And, well, that's it for this time, and working on part 2 right now, and I hope you leave any comments you have below, any ideas you have, if you liked it, if you didn't, any other things you'd like to propose. So thank you, and I'll see you next time.